One of the things we rely on in situations like that is our legal system, don't we? I mean, English common law is the envy of the world, and the rule of law is what makes countries happy to do business with us and makes Britain a desirable place to live. So we've got to rely on the fact that still within the judiciary are people like the Recorder, for example, the Recorder of London. I was at the Old Bailey to watch him give his opinion on whether you should carry on being imprisoned or not.
Yeah, but you say, like, I have no faith in that either. He had no choice but to do that.
No, I know. What I'm saying is, I thought...
Do you know what he done? He still sent me back to prison.
He was good, wasn't he?
Yeah, but he still sent me back to prison.
Did he?
So even after he heard everything,
Yeah.
he knew it was unlawful.
Yeah.
I was still put back in prison for 2 weeks while he made his mind up. And it was left until the very last day before I was released. So I was put on solitary confinement for a further 2 weeks. Yeah, even though he'd heard the whole case. So he heard the case.
Right.
And what my lawyers kept saying to me, you're getting out.
Right.
Because it's all unlawful.
Yeah.
And once this is... And what the only way we played it is we didn't tell them that we were appealing the conviction. We only said we were appealing the sentence. And then when we got into open court, before the judge, then, because we know it's in open court and we know everyone's there, then we laid out, these are what you've done wrong, here's how it's unlawful, because it would have been refused, I believe. And even so I say, yeah, he let me out because he had to.
Right.
Because it's written in the records. And everything they'd done was put forward. But after he heard how unlawful it was, he still sent me back to prison for 2 weeks.
Right.
And on the very last day that he had, because he was allowed 14 days, on the 14th day I was released. I should have been released from court.
So I wished that I'd done a podcast with you immediately after your prison experience, because that in itself was a whole podcast. So take me back to what happened. Why did they put you in prison most recently?
So they put me in prison, which they said was for contempt of court.
Yeah.
They said in the media that I pleaded guilty. Another lie.
Yeah.
I never pleaded guilty.
Yeah.
So imagine being me.
Yeah.
I've been taken off the streets for no crime. I know the laws. I went on my own training courses with Kingsley Napoli. Kingsley Napoli are one of the best legal firms in London. I paid for myself to do a 3-day course with them so that I could understand contempt of court.
Okay.
And I'd done that because I had the previous brush with contempt of court at Canterbury Crown Court.
And what did you done wrong in Canterbury?
So basically, Canterbury, I wasn't aware that you can't stand on court property in video. I know you can video in court, but you can't actually video on court property. So if you stand on the steps of court, that's contempt of court.
So what did you do? You filmed on the steps of the court.
So basically, so people know, there was 5 men and they raped a young child, and she was asking for directions in their kebab shop. She was drunk. She got lost. She asked for directions. They took her upstairs, 5 of them, and they gang raped her.
I read this story.
Yeah, and then they were given bail. So I heard about it, and I thought they can't really be given bail running the same chicken shop. Yeah, they were. So I went straight down to the chicken shop. There's a pizza shop, 777 Pizza. They just changed the name. Yeah. I looked through the windows. I went to the business next door. I said, can you tell me if you've seen any young girls? Do any school children go in that premises next door? She said, yeah, yesterday. There was loads of girls in there yesterday. So then in my head, I'm thinking, hold on a minute. These men have already raped. All of their DNA was found on the girl. 5 of them.
Yeah.
It's not like it was an allegation. They had their DNA on a young, vulnerable child who had been gang raped.
Yeah.
One of the men, whilst on bail, left the country. He was from Afghanistan, a migrant.
Yeah.
He's gone. Yeah. So then I'm in my mind, I'm going to make the public in this entire area, because this video will go viral, because I'd already been to the shop. They'd locked the shop and I'm banging at the door saying open the door. So this has already happened. Then so I've waited then for the next morning, and I've gone to the court, and I thought I'm going to make a video with these men's faces on it. And I'm going to make sure that everybody in the area of this shop knows who they are and knows what they're alleged to have done. Yeah? They're actually convicted now. They're all doing 20 years in jail. So I couldn't believe that a judge could give these men bail to run the same premises. Right. Yeah? So I went to the court and I waited outside, and then the police were aware I was there, so the police come. Now the judge let the men use the back door to leave court, so that I couldn't video them. I then videoed myself on the steps, saying all I'm going to do now is go to their house. Yeah, so I'm going to go to their house. You're going to see who these men are.
Yeah.
I then went home and at 4:00 in the morning, my door went through. I was dragged straight before the judge for contempt of court. Now, where they had me was because I stood on court property.
Right.
That's what I got charged for.
Okay, so just pause there. So as far as you see it, you're doing the public a service.
What I see there is that the judge
Yeah.
has messed up major.
Yeah.
She has put the British public in danger.
Yeah.
She has risked other people's daughters
Yeah.
and the threat against them by these men.
Yeah.
She's let them run the same business.
Yeah.
And that was what I was going to shame her for. Now, to prevent me shaming her for that, she had my door raided and I was dragged before her the next morning.
Fine.
And I was convicted. It cost me £20,000. I was going to jail. So the QC's come, because Ezra Levant got me the best QC in the country.
Yeah.
The QC come and said, she's sending you to prison for this. Trust
Yeah.
me. Yeah. We're going to fight now, and we're going to get you a suspended sentence. So he thought they got me a suspended sentence. Now after that, so that I understood the legalities of court, which
Yeah.
I didn't. This
Yeah.
is all new to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't done journalism courses.
This was before the course that you went on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then I went and sat willingly, funded myself. I'd done a 3-day course with Kingsley Napoli to understand the rules of the court.
Yeah.
What you can say, what you can't say. To be honest, I was calling them in this Canterbury case, these Muslim child raping paedophiles.
Yeah.
Now they weren't yet convicted. They got convicted the day that I was
So you should have said alleged.
alleged. But I didn't know any of this, yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
And I was
Okay.
angry.
Okay.
Now, I didn't jeopardise the trial because the trial had already finished. When I went there, the trial had already finished. They were waiting for their verdicts. Yeah. So then comes a case, and I'm looking at it, and it's in Leeds Crown Court, and
Yeah.
it's for Huddersfield,
Yeah.
and it's for 33 individuals who have been alleged to have been raping those young children.
Yeah.
There's another 50 men anyway,
Yeah.
50 men from the same small area are up in court. So I've gone to the court, and bearing in mind, I know the laws, I know the rules. Yeah? The judge has put a reporting restriction on the case, which is absolute nonsense. Yeah? This is the limiting of the freedom we have to talk about these issues.
Right.
Because under the law,
Yeah.
which I'd read before I went, and I checked everything, under the law, the judge has no power to put reporting restrictions on any information that's already in the public domain. Now, everything I read and everything I sent outside that court was already in the public domain. It's from the BBC News website. None of it was hidden. It's all out there. Now, I was arrested outside that courthouse, and I was taken to the police station. I was arrested for breach of the peace. Just a made-up charge.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with contempt of court. They took me away from the area. People thought I was being arrested for breach of the peace. Then they drove me from the police station. They didn't even check me in the police station. They then drove me round the back into the court, put me into court. I said I want to speak to my solicitor. They would not let me have my solicitor. I was not allowed my solicitor. I was then put before a judge, not asked to plead guilty or not guilty, not actually told what I'd done. I kept asking, what is it I've done here?
Yeah.
No one told me what I've done.
Yeah.
And he sentenced me to 13 months in prison, there and then. And I'm then sitting in prison thinking, what the hell has just happened? Yeah. And then I'm seeing the news report saying Tommy Robinson pleads guilty. And I'm like, I haven't pled guilty. I didn't even get asked if I was guilty. That's one of the reasons I was freed from prison, was because
Right.
I wasn't asked to give a plea. And I wasn't told what I'd done.
So I imagine that if there were kind of left liberal lawyers listening to this, they would say, look, we have a justice system which is designed to bring to justice people like these Muslim gangs when they groom and rape young children. And what you, Tommy Robinson, are doing is interfering with the process of justice. And yeah.
What I was doing was reporting the same as any other reporter. It's just that I'm Tommy Robinson.
Yeah.
That's it. Because actually, in the court transcripts, the reason why they scrapped my most recent trial and put it back to the Attorney General, because I was arrested on the Friday. I was put straight in prison. The 10 men who the judge had heard 2 months' worth of evidence from I think up to 10 young girls who had given witness statements of what they've done. Not one girl, not one little allegation. The judge had heard all the evidence. Well, he allowed the 10 Muslim men to go home on the Friday afternoon. Right. One of those men is still never been found. He was last seen leaving his house with his suitcases. Yeah? So the judge throws me in jail, lets the rapists go home. One of them's absconded and escaped justice. Yeah? Then, when he comes back into court on the Tuesday, and I've got all the court transcripts because I went through all of them, the judge is then put to the judge that the trial has been prejudiced by what I've said, by the Muslims lawyers are saying this has to be kicked out. The judge and the head of the CPS both say in court, we've now watched the entirety of Mr. Robinson's video.
Yeah.
There is nothing he says, even if heard by the jury, that could have prejudiced this trial.
Who said this, sorry?
The Judge Marson
Yeah.
and the head of the CPS.
Okay.
So this is on the Monday or the Tuesday
Yeah.
when they're back in court. So when it's put to them, they both say, we both now watched the video in its entirety.
Yeah.
Nothing he said or done
Right.
could have prejudiced this trial.
Yeah.
So then that's straight away. Why are you all saying I risked the trial? I didn't risk the trial.
Right.
No, all I done was report.
Yeah.
I said they're innocent until proven guilty. I said alleged rapists.
Right. Because you'd had your media training by
I'd
then.
had my training.
Okay.
I've done everything within the law. But yet I still spent. And just for contempt of court, it's a civil matter. It's not a criminal matter.
Right.
It's civil.
Yeah.
I was sent to prison as a criminal. When I was put in prison, the difference is quite big when you're in my situation. And as a civil prisoner, you can spend £50 a week. And for contempt of court, you can only go to a open prison. It's a category D prison.
Right.
Yeah? I was not held under those conditions. I was moved. I was put into a prison as a criminal. My spends were £12.50 a week. Also, you have a visit every day as a civil prisoner. I was not. I was allowed one every 3 weeks. So then I was moved from HMP Hull to HMP Onley. Onley has the biggest Muslim population of any prison in this country for a CCAT prison. Because of this threat to me, after moving me from the safety of Hull to the danger of Onley, because of this threat, they then said they have to keep me on solitary confinement. I was then kept on solitary confinement where I had £10 a week, £12.50 a week to spend, and I didn't see anyone for 2 months. I didn't see anyone. My door was opened and it was shut for my food, and that's it. And then I couldn't eat the food because so people, if you understand how when you're in prison, the prisoners cook the food. This is a majority Muslim prison.
Yeah.
All of the people working on the kitchen are Muslim. After one day, all I'm getting is enjoy your dinner, Tommy, enjoy your dinner, Tommy, shouted down. I had to keep my windows shut because I'm getting excrement, shit and feces thrown through them. So none of that had to happen. None of that. I was fine in HMP Hull, but they moved me to that situation.
Who's they? The prison service?
Well, even when I got to HMP Hull Onley, I said to the governor, what have you done? Why have you done this? I am under no doubt at all that they would have got me in that prison had there not been a mass Free Tommy movement outside. And I think that I had to weigh up the situation and thought, if he's killed in this prison, there's going to be riots.
But you see, I find this shocking. I mean, as an allegation, to think that it might be true is horrible. But you're suggesting that the prison service basically wanted you bumped off.
I'm suggesting that nobody in this country could give me a logical reason why I, Tommy Robinson, would be moved from the lowest Muslim population prison in the country to the highest. There is no reason why you would do that. It's not the prison that I should go to. I should be in an open prison. I was moved against my categorisation, against all the rules, and put in a prison where I'm in danger. And then because of the fact I'm in danger, I'm then held on solitary confinement, where for 30 minutes a day, I'm allowed out to walk around on my own in a little square. Now, when I walked around in that square was surrounded by Muslims who are constantly fucking screaming and shouting abuse and threats and what they're going to do to my family. In that prison, I think all of this is done intentionally. I have the prison guards come to my door at, say, 9 p.m. and say, where's your wife? I'm sat in a cell, mate, that I've been sat in for the last 6 weeks, and I haven't been out of it. Yeah. The only time they let me out for my exercise, which is against the laws as well, it's just so that people understand who don't understand how prison works. When you're in prison, you get out your cell at 8:30 and you get put back in at 5:30. At 8:30 in the morning, you go to work, you have a gym, you play football, you have all these things you do. You play snooker, you play pool, you play badminton, you've got PlayStations, you've got all of this in prison. I didn't come out of my cell at all. I was only allowed out for 30 minutes on my own when the rest of the prison was on lockdown for lunch. So when everyone else is on for lunch, they'd open my door, they'd walk me through the prison into an exercise yard on my own, which I'd walk around on my own. Yeah. Only time they do that is 12:30 to 1:30. My children are at school. My wife worked in the school at that time. So I couldn't even speak to my family at all. Now, that's not within the law or the rules. That's absolute. So all of these things all play a part on your mental state. Yeah,
Well,
on
I
your
bet, yeah.
And then they come in at 9 o'clock and said, "Where's your wife?" I said, "I haven't spoke to my wife. How am I meant to know where my wife is, or how am I?" And they said, "Okay, well, there's intel she's going to be attacked with acid." And I'm sat there like,
So these are the guards.
"These are the guards." So they've come with a letter. They've come with a letter because the police are there. They've come with the police. We need to know where your wife is. She's in danger. We have intel she's going to be attacked with acid. Imagine trying to sleep after that. Yeah? They've then knocked on my mum's house and my wife's house. They've told my mother and my wife, "We have intel you're going to be attacked with acid." And that's it. They just leave them with this official warning. Yeah? Now, were they going to be attacked with acid, or is this all to play on someone's mental state? Because it worked.
I bet.
It worked. And it worked in that sense of not eating, the not being able to contact your family, not the constant threats anyway, the worry you have anyway when you're in prison about all these things. And then, obviously, people saw when I come out of prison,
You look terrible.
you
looked in a really,
I hadn't been out of a room in 2.5 months.
So okay, you lived on a diet of...
1 tin of tuna, 5 tins of tuna a week is what I could afford.
Is that all you ate?
Yeah, 5 tins of tuna a week. That's it.
Is there enough
And do you
nutrition
know what?
in it?
No, there's not. No, so I've had all my reports done. When I come out, I was malnourished, completely malnourished.
Yeah.
I begged. I've got the letters. I wrote to the governor again and again and again saying, "I need more money. I have to be able to buy bloody food. That's all I'm asking for, is to buy food."
Yeah.
And also telling them there's plenty you could do to make my time here more bearable. Just get me out in the gym for an hour. Yeah. Just let me do something. Get me out of this cell that you're locking me in, forcefully locking me in.
Yeah.
I'm not willingly being put on isolation, because what they tried to do, they put me for a week in the block with no TV, with nothing, just a blue mat. And then they said, "Well, we can move you to a better cell, but you have to self-isolate, where you sign a piece of paper saying I'm isolating myself because I'm scared."
Right.
I said, "I'm not doing that." And they goes, "Well, we'll put you on the wing then." So I said, "Put me on the wing then. That's what I want you to do." And they goes, "But you're going to be in danger." I said, "I'm in danger every time I open my front door." I said, "I didn't put me here. You brought me here. You must have done all these safety checks before you brought me here. You would have had to do all of these safety checks because of who I am and the fact of what's going on outside this prison, outside the prison gates. I'm aware of tens of thousands of people marching. I'm aware of 600,000 people signing a petition. I'm aware of all of this pressure happening outside. You've done all these checks and you've still brought me here." So there's no other explanation, which is why I want to get the prison service into court.
Well, because I was going to say, I remember reading at the time, and the prison authorities are completely denying that any of this happened, aren't they? They are flat out contradicting your account.
My solicitor was just like, even my solicitor said, "It's unbelievable." When my solicitor come, I meant to have 2 hours legal visit. They brought me in for 30 minutes.
Right.
They left him sat there. And this come up, if you read the when we went to the High Court, this all come out in court. My solicitor said, "We haven't even been able to get to see him. We've been trying to get to see him.
Right.
They leave us outside. We've seen him for 30 minutes.
So does your solicitor, your barrister, think you have a case against the prison service?
Yeah, completely, yeah.
Right.
Completely. But
How did you stop? Did you have any reading material or anything in your cell?
I read letters. This is the other thing. It's like I've received this much letters every single day.
Yeah.
From supporters,
And
people around the world.
and what were
Do you
they
know
saying?
It was such a beautiful thing to. It was really to see how emotionally it affected them. Was quite made me realise, Jesus, this is big.
Right.
Because I had people write to me saying, "I'm not political. I've never voted. I've never wrote a letter to someone. And here I am writing to you. And I will be," I'm getting emotional even thinking about it, I will be at any demonstration for you. And all of these things from people saying how outraged they were with what had happened.
Yeah.
How outraged they were that this could happen in Britain. And do you know the saddest thing about this is, you could be taken off the streets unlawfully in this country as a journalist, because I was working as a journalist.
Yeah.
You can be taken off the streets unlawfully. You can be thrown into a prison cell. You can be held in solitary confinement against all laws and legislations. And you can do that with the full support of 650 MPs and every single journalist in this country, because not one of them spoke out.
Yeah.
Not one of them.
Yeah. Look.
If this would have happened to someone in Russia, if a journalist would have done this in Russia, the British government would have made the comment. People would have spoke out.
Yeah.
They all rallied behind their same lies because I read so many people wrote to MPs, and I read the MP's response. It was the same. Every MP said the same. So it was obviously a group message to send back out. Was that I had risked the trial, lie. That I had broke the law, lie. That I had pled guilty, lie.
Yeah.
All lies. All proven now by the highest court in the land.
Yes. This is what, going back to my original point about how bloody annoying it is.